Good afternoon. My name is Joseph Lloyd and welcome to No Budget Reviews, the series where we go around the country finding cars that you can buy in good condition with an MOT for under £1,000 and filming them with absolutely no money at all. So we have to use my phone, no microphones, no fancy DSLRs, nothing like that. Just good honest cars that you can buy for very little money and you can enjoy driving. Well, viewers, I have a treat for you today. I've driven an awfully long way for this, and here we are. It's a 2003 Fiat Stilo 1.6 JTD Multi Wagon. These cars are really, really rare. If you want to buy one of these in Britain at the moment, then there is one on Auto Trader. And it's not this one. I'm very glad to have been offered this for review today by Phil, who is a fellow administrator of the Cars You Don't See Anymore Facebook group, because you definitely don't see these around anymore. The Stilo is an interesting car. It was really designed to compete head-on with the Mark IV Volkswagen Golf, and it was launched in 2001. The Multi-Wagon was launched in 2003, and this is a really, really early example of one that's come into Britain. It's on a 52 plate, and it would have been from probably the launch of this car at the local dealership. It's a very highly specified car, this one. It's the dynamic trim, despite the fact it says Turnergy on that side. We think that was probably the name of the supplying dealer or something. It's got things like radar guided cruise control and sat nav. They don't actually work, but you know, never mind. If we just open her up, this blue key looks very much like an Alfa Romeo key of the time. You see that we've got electric seats in the front. We've also got this enormous expanse of textured soft touch plastic, but it's so absolutely enormous that it looks just all kind of weird. We've got bits of trim kind of hanging off and stuff, and you know, the way that it goes with these cars. The glove box is enormous though. It's a huge glove box. I suspect many people who used to drive these were, you know, maybe considering MPVs as well. There were only two trims available for the Stilo. I will go over a little bit later some other trims available for the 3 and 5 door Stilos. But the Multi-Wagon was just active aircon, which really wasn't a trim level, just adding air conditioning as an option. And then dynamic, like this one. So this would have been a top of a range car. Ooh, creaky. One thing we do have, which is in common with the Vanden Plas 1500, it's based on the old Austin Allegro, is some picnic tables in the back. And they, which way come up? Oh, they come up like this. That's pretty clever, viewers. It's very clever. I like that. And do we have a central armrest? Yes, we do. Do we have cup holders in our armrest? Yes, we do. And that looks like a ski hatch as well. So Fiat must have put a lot of money into this car and made it kind of, you know, as close as possible to a Golf. But we can see here, just bits of falling off and whatever. I mean, yeah. Ooh, there's a nice thunk to the door, but that hinge needs a bit of oil. So you think pulling on this enormous handle at the back would actually open it up, but it doesn't. What opens it up is the key. So if we press this, there we go. We can open up the separate tailgate. It's like a, oh dear. Maybe not. Let's just put that down. Just don't want to slam my fingers in there. Let's try that again. See if we can get the thing to come up. Yes, that's better. 470 litres of space, and if you look behind here you can see there's actually a way of sliding those seats back and forth. I'm not actually going to do that today because I really don't want to break anything else in the car. These are such rare cars. Ooh, something else has come off. What's the original manual pack probably for the Fiat? Brilliant. Or maybe a first aid kit. I'm sure under here somewhere is a way of pulling that up without ruining your fingers. Maybe you should ruin your fingers. I'm sure the spare wheel is under there and everything. And we've got a very handy strap to close the tailgate because it is a little bit heavy. There's no multi-wagon badge on this car. I'd expect, you know, after things like the Fiat Regatta weekend and the Temper SW and the Rare weekend, that you'd get some sort of badge to tell you, you know, what this is. But you don't on this. It just says Stilo. More creaky. Now, Phil, I think, is quite a tall chap, so if it looks quite bad, actually it's not too bad considering how far back the seat is. You only get that on the passenger side. It's quite comfortable in here actually. There's glass sunroof. My head though is right up against the roof, and I'm only 5'11", so this lovely massive sunroof probably robs a little bit of headroom. Gosh, so strange being one of the probably the few people who actually will ever get to review one of these cars, just because of the rarity. There's a little armrest in the middle there, which, there we go, you've got a little storage pocket there. Loads of storage in here. That's one thing it's practical about, and that's probably why the hinges are a bit squeaky. Yes, well, I mean, of course, on No Budget Reviews, we review cars that cost less than £1,000. I looked at how much the other one for sale was of these, and it was, I think, about £150. So, you know, we're not talking mega riches to get behind the wheel of one of these Stilos. Let's just get in here. Ooh, we've got electric seats. Passenger one doesn't work. This one does though. I have to adjust it, I think, because it's going to be a bit difficult to drive about. These are lifted straight out of something like a contemporary Lancia or Alfa Romeo over time, I think. I seem to remember the ones on an Alfa 145 were a bit different. So we've got, just put that back into neutral for a second so we don't go anywhere when I start it. And here's the sat-nav system here. We might get a few warning lights. It says Phil did tell me if you start it, so stick that in. The boot's open. I don't think so. Oh, we've got warning lights, viewers. Right, let's see if the air conditioning works. If we press the memo button, or mode, that one. Yeah, we've got all kinds of little weird things. Brilliant. Got rid of the weird things. See if I can turn this on. Oh no, that looks pretty broken. He wasn't lying when he said it was broken, because it is. We do have, I think, is that dual zone climate control? Wow. 2003, this is luxury. Look at all these things here. Telephone and oh no, viewers, that rubber coating's come off and it's all gone sticky and right, well, let's finish off quickly. Be quiet, you. We've got a handbrake here, a normal handbrake, 12-volt socket, which is being used for its conventional purpose. Some cup holders at the front here, 5-speed manual gearbox. City mode, that was common in Fiat at the time. That makes the power steering incredibly light, which you don't need particularly. And a huge bank of switches over here, which again kind of does remind me of the switches on the contemporary Alfa Romeo. I think one of these will be for the cruise control, radar guided thing, which doesn't work, and then these are the controls for the stereo. So we give her a little bit of power. So 1.9 litre, I must have 1.6 earlier on. It's 1.9 JTD engine in this car. Vistion, is that the name of the people who make instruments? Anyway, let's shut her off for a second and have a look under the bonnet. Well, viewers, very fancy again, obviously trying to ape a Volkswagen Golf. We have self-supporting gas struts. Here is the JTD engine, it's 1.9 litre, not 1.6 what I said earlier. And here is an awful lot of fuses for some reason. I don't know why they should be the most prominent thing that Fiat would show us. Is that because they're trying to tell us that we have to keep an eye on them? I wouldn't like to comment on that. And we've got a rather interesting looking coolant reservoir. Big plastic cover on top of the engine, of course. And there goes the oil. I believe these engines are actually reasonably reliable as long as you change the cam belt and everything like that. Cam belt on this car has been done about 4,000 miles ago actually, and the headlamps actually don't look that bad. It's quite a sort of generic type of appearance with this car, similar to a, you know, the Mark II Punto, I think, which is not necessarily a bad thing. You've got an under bonnet mat. Lovely. Right, viewers, time for a drive. So, the engine's available in a Stilo Multi Wagon. There weren't very many of them, there were just two. Seems like Fiat didn't particularly want to market this car particularly well. We've got this engine, the 1.9 diesel and also 1.6 petrol. This engine produces about 115 horsepower. The petrol only produced 101, I believe it is. I think that was a relation of, or the last version of the old Fiat 128 overhead cam unit. Clutch is a little stiff on this car, but it has done something like, I don't know, 115,000 miles. The ride's actually pretty good. It's not bad. It's really not as sort of firm and jiggly as I thought it would be. So we're only two trims, sort of active aircon, which is really just an option for air conditioning, so I'd count that as really the same thing, and dynamic. Other engines available in the Stilo range were a 1.2 litre from the Punto at 80 horsepower. Later that was replaced by a 1.4 version of the same engine. I think that's the old Fire engine. That's 95 horsepower. After that, there was 1.6, of course, but 101 horsepower. 1.8, which was 130 horsepower. And then right top of the range, a very interesting engine, a 5-cylinder engine, 2.4 litres, producing, well, quite a lot. I think it's 170 horsepower. So, yeah. Exciting. You're looking at the sort of inside of the car and looking at all the bits that have fallen off and stuff. It doesn't actually feel that bad. There are a few squeaks and rattles and things like that going on, but it's really not terrible. I suppose the most desirable version of this car would probably be the Schumacher edition. That was one that I found on Auto Trader actually, and it was less than £2,000. You could buy a Schumacher edition of one of these with a 5-cylinder 2.4 engine. Obviously not the multi-wagon. There are also loads of other random trim levels in a Stilo in general. One of them was actually called the Xbox edition, which does sound rather fascinating. I must say. I think that's the one that I would choose. Do you know that there are hardly any Xbox edition Stilos left? There's like 3 or 4 or something. In fact, the car is just generally quite rare. I can't tell you how many multi-wagons there are left in general, because if you look at the Harmony Left website, and I know the Harmony Left website isn't necessarily the most accurate source of information anyway, then it will tell you roughly how many there are left and how many there are taxed. Obviously, if there might be someone stolen or something, but this isn't generally a car that anybody sees anymore. And the original Stilo, the hatchback 3.5 door, that lasted until 2007, I believe, and it was replaced by the second Bravo. The multi-wagons, as far as I know, not really been replaced. I mean, you could count something like the Fiat 500X as a replacement for this, but I'm not sure I would. It lasted a bit longer in Brazil though, for whatever reason. That's where, you know, maybe car designers are more appreciated for their vintage years. It's a lot better not being in that traffic. It's quite fast actually, it's a lot of torque. I'm sure the 1.6 wouldn't be as quick as this. So this electric steering, I mean, if I put it on the city mode, see how that, oh gosh, no, I don't like that. Oh, got no steering feel at all, nothing at all. Oh dear, that's not good. I think I will turn that off. Well, that's a lot better now we're not in the city mode. Yeah, it seats quite comfortable actually, I'm surprised. Wolsey 1500, very nice. Apologise by the way for the mount and the way, viewers, it's just the way that No Budget Reviews goes. Don't hate me. Gearbox is okay, it's better than, say, some very knackered old Peugeot Citroën gearboxes I've tried. Actually, the refinement when you're going along is pretty good. It sort of does remind me a bit, you know, dare I say it, of something like a Volkswagen. You can imagine that you could do quite long journeys in this car. I mean, Phil has told me he's done some airport runs in this, and he's got 6 suitcases in the back. And I think for, you know, family duties, that's pretty good. So should you know, use your hard-earned money and say pay £850 for a Fiat Stilo Multi Wagon? Well, let's get back and discuss that further, and we might even look at some more trims that the Stilo came in, because there were an awful lot. Let's just briefly look at some Fiat Stilo trim levels for the 3 and 5 door models. It's based on my information I've got here. Active Aircon, Blue, Dynamic, Sporting, Abarth, GT. They're very rare actually for GTs. Prestigio, Xbox, we've already discussed the Xbox, Schumacher and Schumacher GP. Unfortunately, I don't think the involvement of Michael Schumacher particularly helped the sales of this car, but you know, there we are. Well, viewers, there we are, the incredibly rare Fiat Stilo Multi Wagon. I quite enjoyed driving the car. I was surprised, you know, from what I could kind of see and feel in the interior, I wasn't particularly impressed. I've heard some quite bad horror stories about these cars, and it's okay. In terms of Volkswagen beating levels of quality, I'd say it's a partial success in some ways, but just some very peculiar choices, and the fact you don't see an awful lot of these around anymore would suggest to me that perhaps this wouldn't be the first choice for many people if they were going to buy a family estate, but you know, it's okay. I think for far less than £1,000 that one of these would cost, could be worth a look depending on the service history and things like that. Why not? It's very comfortable and lots of space, and this roof is very nice. But anyway, thank you ever so much indeed for watching this episode of No Budget Reviews. Please don't forget to like this video, to leave a comment below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. There will be more in this series, and of course we do enjoy ourselves when making them. And thank you once again ever so much indeed for watching.